Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I am Todd Anderson.
I'm Ross Merriam.
And today we are going into Modern featuring Ravnica Allegiance. We've done a ton of Standard over the last month and change, I guess.
Yeah, basically all this year. Been really hyper-focused on Standard. We saw week one of that play out in Indianapolis last weekend. But this coming weekend, we finally get to see Modern on a really big stage with some coverage. There was a Classic last weekend that had some results, so we've seen a little bit of it. But now we're going to get to see it with our own eyes, under the lights.
With our own hands.
With our own hands.
Yeah.
I'll be in the Modern seat for my team.
And I'll be on the Modern seat for right now. But I'm going to be in the coverage booth this weekend, actually, because Jerry Thompson... He got a case of the woozies this past weekend. I don't know what happened to him, but he's on antibiotics. He's stuck at home.
So bad case of con crud.
I'm going to apologize to Scooter, who I'm sure is in the chat. He's always here, and he was on my team, as well as Jake Humphreys. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in the booth. We've already worked it out. This is not a surprise to them, even though I made it sound like it was a surprise.
Yeah. That would be a bad way to reveal to your team.
Bad way to break it. Jake's actually like right over there sitting in a seat. Anyway, so I'm going to be in the coverage this weekend alongside Brian Gottlieb of the Game Podcast, taking Jerry's spot. You know, if they just had me as a guest on the Game Podcast, I think it would just solve everything, because then I could just be part of the game, you know?
So you don't really want to be a guest. You just want to be a third host?
No, I'll be a guest. They haven't had me as a guest at all either.
Okay.
I'm kind of sad about it. Honestly, it hurts.
I got to point this out real fast. Scooter just said, we got Callie, #upgrade.
Yeah. No, my wife is playing with them. She's going to be playing Colossus Eldrazi and Legacy. That's her jam.
Does she still have the biggest trophy in the Anderson household?
Yes.
That's still true? Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure.
Look, I took it to the chest for 7 years. And about 2 years ago, I said, if you bring it up ever again, it's going in the trash. Look, I took it for 7 years, you know? 7 years. She had the biggest trophy, and that's fine. 7 years.
Well,
trash.
Sounds like you need to
go to therapy. Yes, I do.
Well, that's a given. But I was going to say maybe win a Players' Championship, because those trophies are gigantic.
Yeah. Does this inspire joy?
Apparently, no.
It is no. Anyway, so let's get to the action here, because let's get down to the nitty gritty. First match of the day. Your pet deck is at Phoenix, blowing up. A lot of people doing well with it. 3 copies in the finals at SCG Columbus earlier this year. Or was that Worcester?
It was 2 in the finals in Columbus, I believe.
Or in the top 4. Sorry, 3 in the top 4.
3 in the top 4 in Worcester.
Okay.
Or
no, I thought that was Columbus. Were you top forward?
No. Columbus was teams. So I think there was 2 in the modern seats. I think there was 2 in the top 4 in Columbus.
Okay.
There was 3
out of the 4.
Out of the 4. Yeah, we took 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and Dominic Harvey ruined all our fun.
Yeah, you know. It's fine. So that's the deck you're playing today, but you have some updates, including some new cards for Ravnica Allegiance.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been talking to me and trying to get my thoughts on Terramander, Todd being one of them, yes.
How many times have I told you how bad Crackling Drake is, and how Pyromancer Ascension and Monastery Swiftspear and all these cards that everyone keeps trying, and they literally just gave you a blue Tombstalker, just put it in your deck. And the first time you tried it, last night?
I have been playing with it this week, and it's been pretty good.
That's not what you said to me earlier.
I said it's been impressive.
No, you said it's been nice.
That is true.
There it is.
I told my team that it's been impressive. I told you it's been nice.
Yeah.
So I agree that all of the cards that are sort of the 4th threat, I like Crackling Drake, obviously, and then Thing in the Ice and Arclight Phoenix are essentially uncuttable. And that 4th threat, whenever I've tried in that slot, Monastery Swiftspear, Pyromancer Ascension, Jace Vryn's Prodigy, they've Young Pyromancer, they've all been weak and just cards I never really want to draw. So I've been on the lookout for other things. I tried out Terramander in that slot, and it has been quite good. I was initially high on the card, even though one of the reasons I added Crackling Drake to the deck was to avoid too much graveyard interaction and then being vulnerable to graveyard hate. I do think that Terramander just being functional, even as a 1/1 flyer, which isn't great outside of graveyard hate, is still nice. Mm-hmm. And you might not have too many in the deck, though I've been impressed by it in my initial testing with it, that I want to try out a list that really hammers the card home. So this list that I'm playing today has 0 Crackling Drake, 4 copies of Terramander, and we're supplementing those Terramanders with Charticourse, which has gone very well in the Izzet Phoenix deck or Izzet Drake deck in Standard, notably for Bradley Carpenter last weekend, top hitting the Open with it. And I watched my BCW teammate Tannen Grace played in the Classic, and that combination or the pattern of turn 1 Terramander, turn 2 Charticourse is pretty good for them.
Yeah, especially when Charticourse becomes this basically modal card that if you have an Arclight Phoenix in your hand, you can cast it before you attack, no matter what stage of the game you're in, just to get that burst with the Arclight Phoenixes. But in the games that are going to be grindy, where you need to make sure you hit land drops, where you're going to use all the pieces of the Buffalo, turn 1 Terramander and turn 2 Charticourse is...
Yeah, it is very nice. And then I thought it was going to be turn 4, turn 5, and maybe you're paying a couple mana to adapt. Mostly it's turn 3, turn 4, and you're paying 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, with Gutshot, Manamorphose, all these cards that already synergize with Thing in the Ice and Arclight Phoenix, you're highly incentivized to fill up your graveyard with these cheap instants or free instants, and Terramander just is naturally just like a 2-mana 5/5 flyer. Most of the time, sometimes a 3-mana 5/5 flyer. But the fact that you can pay the costs split, like the 1-mana investment up front, turn 2 Charticourse or whatever, and then later on adapt it. Like, I think that's just a huge deal.
Yep. So we're going to really be testing that card out today, and we're going to be putting it up against a deck that is getting a lot of hype coming into this weekend because of the new tools it gained from Ravagant Allegiance, and one that is not a great matchup for Izzet Phoenix. So this is going to be a real test. You're playing a Rakdos Burn strategy, notably without Eidolon of the Great Revel in the main. I believe they're in the sideboard over here.
Yeah, we got 4 Eidolon of the Great Revel on the sideboard. This is because when you play Light Up the Stage, it's a bit counterintuitive to play Eidolon of the Great Revel. You're literally just pushing yourself to take more damage with your own card. I think that the red-white versions that play Boros Charm, I think, should still play 4 main deck. And there's a good chance that 4 Eidolon is fine in the main deck of this deck as well. This is a version that I stripped from Magic Online just to see how good it was. It was one of the first 5-0 decks that I saw that played both Light Up a Stage and Skewer the Critics. And we're the light black splash for things like Bump in the Night. So... it's way more just lava spike you until you're dead, and we try to use Monastery Swift Sphere and Goblin Guide to be like our early forms of pressure. But I mean, we can just throw 7 burn spells upstairs and in the game if you don't have a fast clock against us.
Yeah, so your super low curve. The previous burn list had a lot of 2-mana spells in their deck from Eidolon, Searing Blaze, Boros Charm, Skullcrack, Lightning Helix.
Yeah.
They were almost half and half split between, and sometimes they had more 2s than 1s even. And that led to some clunky draws where your hand gluts up at 2 and then you're stuck on 2 lands, maybe 3. You can't unload your hand fast enough and you end up losing the game with a burn spell or 2 in your hand that would have been lethal. These versions of the deck now with Light Up the Stage and Skewer added are almost all 1-mana spells, but also importantly, 1-mana spells whose CMC is not 1 to dodge Chalice of the Void if that card picks up. So Skewer the Critics and Light Up the Stage, even if you cast them for Spectacle, will have CMC 3, just like Rift Bolt off Suspend. So you've got some ways to dodge Chalice, even though you've lowered your curve, which I like. And that makes the deck significantly faster. You just make 3 land drops. They're basically dead on turn 4 every time.
Yeah, I mean, you can get flooded here or there, but I agree for the most part, if you hit lands 1, 2, and 3, and then don't hit your 4th one, but on turn 4, they should usually be dead just from the way that the games play, and especially so if your 1-drop creature doesn't get hit with a Path to Exile or Lightning Bolt or something like that. But we want to fill today with as many games as possible because a lot of these modern games are going to go really fast. So let's take 3 questions from Twitch chat if you got some for us, and then we are going to probably play best of 5. Just grind them out. This is going to be a fun day.
We got Director Kyle over here in the booth.
Yeah, we had a couple questions earlier. I think they're probably typing them in right now. But somebody asked, what do they play now that KCI is no longer an option? That was from WatX18.
One of the 40 decks that you have to choose from. I don't know. I mean, the thing about banning stuff is, it's unfortunate, but I think it's necessary. You can play Mox Opal Ancient Stirrings decks still. They just can't involve Karkline Ironworks. And I think that's a very good thing because the card just made it the modern experience so miserable for so many people, not only just for the people involved in the matches, but personally, whenever I'm covering a match that has Karkline Ironworks, it was just never fun. for either side. I would regularly just like get to a point where they were comboing, and they might miss 5% of the time or whatever, but 95% of the time they're just going to spend 10 minutes of everyone's time involved doing their thing, and that's not okay. You can't be a time thief. Get out of here. You're fired.
And yeah, it is out of here. So we're gone. There's plenty of options, even if you want to, like Todd said, stick with Stirring's Opal decks. There's Lantern, there's Hardened Scales, there's the Whir Prison decks, Whir of Invention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of almost lanternless lantern decks. They don't play that sort of package, but they're still heavy artifact decks that are trying to lock you out with
You can still make people miserable.
Yeah, those
if you want. If that's what you like.
There were 2 in the top 8 of the Classic last weekend, 9-round tournament. So an impressive showing from that deck, and it's one that could, come up. It's a very dangerous matchup for Izzet Phoenix. I do not like it from my side. So
the card and Staring Bridge is quite good.
Yeah, and they just have so many ways to protect it. They play 4 welding jars, sideboard 4 Spellskite. Mm-hmm. So your Braids and Ancient Grudges, if that's where you're trying to beat them, just aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
If that deck picks up, we might need to sideboard a Shatterstorm.
All right.
What about this is from White Knight? Will any modern decks play Cindervines?
I mean, I do think that card is very strong. Obviously, it's not as powerful as something like Eidolon the Great Revel or, like old school like Pyrostatic Pillar, which Eidolon the Great Revel was kind of based off of. But at the same time, you have that added utility of being able to be a disenchant effect. So you get a few points early on, and then at some point you get to unlock your creatures with by popping the Ensnaring Bridge or busting up some relevant enchantment, what have you. I think it's probably a great sideboard card in like a green base or red green burn deck, or just like an aggressive zoo deck, but those don't really exist right now. But I think you definitely need to utilize the damage aspect of it, and apply creature pressure or burn pressure to your opponent.
Being significantly less powerful than Eidolon the Great Revel in terms of suppressing spell-heavy decks makes me wary of the card. But as we just mentioned, the Whir Prison decks seem pretty weak to a card like that. You get to blow up a bridge if that's necessary, and in order to keep the bridge locking you out, they need to keep casting their spells.
Right.
And that might just end the game by itself. So again, if that deck gets more popular, Cindervines is a good option to look for.
Ross, this one is directed for you specifically. Obviously, either can answer, but it's about Izzet Phoenix sideboard. With Burn potentially going to rise in popularity, how do you feel about Dragon's Claw on the sideboard? This was asked by multiple people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a card that some people have. I think Tarek Patel had it in his sideboard last weekend in the Classic. It's not a card I like, and especially in Modern, I don't like having cards that are that narrow. It's only going to come in one matchup.
Did Tarek make top 4?
No, I beat him in the quarters.
Right. Game, set, and match. No Dragon Claw.
So I just don't think you can afford to do stuff like that in Modern. And I've been successful in the matchup just bringing in some counter spells and like aggressively trading in the early game and then trying to turn the corner. I mean,
we're going to see just how good or bad it is here. Obviously, the pre-board, no Eidolons. We're going to probably play like 2 pre-board and 3 post-board and see, whether or not Eidolon deals us too much damage, especially in this matchup where the race matters a bunch. So
yeah, I also like my sideboard cards when you're playing a bunch of cantrips to be cards that you can draw into and dig for to be relevant, whereas Claw is something you really want to cast early.
Right.
I think if I was looking for a Haymaker against Burn, I might look to the White Splash and at a card like Phyrexian Unlife.
Timely reinforcements.
I got Skullcracked. Phyrexian Unlife does not.
Well, it only gets Skullcracked if they didn't tap out to cast Light at the stage and skewer the critics and all this other nonsense.
They don't Skullcrack as often now, so...
Yeah. I think a lot of decks are going to go this route and maybe board Skullcrack, if anything. But let's get to the games, because I want to play some Magic today. Let's do odd or even. You call it.
I'll take even.
It is even.
Got him.
Got him.
Okay. So, pre-board games against Burn from the Izzet Phoenix sideboard. I'm going to be looking for a quick clock, and that usually means Thing in the Ice or a very early Phoenix. And then I'm also going to be looking for lands that don't damage me, and then 1 or 2 removal spells to handle early creatures. This hand checks a couple of those boxes, so I will keep it.
All right, I'm going to keep mine, even though we don't have a 1-drop creature. On the draw, I want to see the interaction between Light Up the Stage and Rift Bolt and just how strong that could potentially be.
Okay, so I'm going to start on Spire Bluff Serum Visions.
Sure.
And Neither of these cards is good. We don't really want this Phoenix because we don't have a way to get it in the graveyard, and then we don't need another land. So let's bottom both.
All right.
So-
Sorry, go ahead.
If I needed that land, I would of course leave it on top in case of a Goblin Guide. But here, because I just don't need it, I'd rather just dig through my deck rather than like take a chance at the Goblin Guide.
Yep. All right. I'm at 19. You're
Yeah,
at 20? I'm gonna fetch just a mountain here instead of a black source because I have another fetch land in hand. I can just do that later if I need.
Okay. Well,
My life total might end up mattering.
this thing in the ice could end up getting taken down by 2 burn spells. But if it's 2 burn spells, unless one of them is Searing Blaze, it's that I'm pretty happy to make that trade.
I mean, the odds of him transforming Thing in the Ice means he needs either Gutshot or Manamorphose. So I'm just going to throw everything at his face since we don't have a creature for it to bounce or block. It's going to put you to 17.
Yep.
Draw. All right, let's light up the stage.
Sure.
Get a land, skewer, Riftbolt. Okay.
We're going to go to
I'm
16
gonna
or?
suspend Riftbolt. I'm just going to take one again. I don't have the black source, so.
Okay. So you're at 18. I'm at 17. That skewer is still exiled.
Yep.
Okay. Well, right now we cannot transform this, so I'm going to fetch to 16.
It's good news for me.
So we could opt or Serum Visions here. Opt lets us dig more towards a Manamorphose, which would let us transform the thing in the ice.
Being told you can't suspend from exile.
I don't think that is true. I think you
Told by
can.
several.
I know what. Look, if that's the case, then this deck just doesn't work. So we're just gonna switch decks. So because I know for a fact when you have Teferi on the battlefield, you can suspend a Greater Gargadon at instant speed. Okay,
I mean, they might have changed how it interacts.
if that's true,
Also, Light of the Stage says you may play those cards rather
Yeah.
than cast, but I don't know exactly if there's a specific definition of those terms. Because suspend is
can we get Ricky Hayashi in here? Actually, can you go get him?
suspend is a replacement for casting.
We're gonna go get
I'll go get him.
a super high level judge and not listen to Twitch chat. I mean, that's
All
fine. If I can't, that's fine. And I want to know. Huh?
Cameras on your faces.
Cameras on our faces. Okay, so let's just talk for a minute while he's going to go get a judge. And I'm going to explain why I personally think this works. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. And it may have been in the FAQ for it. We also can't read Twitch chat right now, so I can't hear what you're saying. But I'm just going to go with it's probably something like, you can't do that because it says you can't cast it. You can play it. All right, now Ross is going to go over there and read Twitch chat.
And then ruin everything somehow because I'm in the director chair.
Probably.
Ask Todd what deck he is playing with Teferi and Greater Gargadon. Well, maybe you should have played Time Spiral Block Era Standard and Block. They were never in the same block constructed deck, but they were probably in like a 4-color Teachings deck.
Yeah, I played in a 2-color
Oh, no.
Scred blue.
Scred Blue.
Yeah.
I mean, there were other suspend cards. Aeon Chronicler was the big one because you didn't want to tap out
That
to
one.
suspend it on your turn, and so
Yeah.
with Teferi you could instant speed
I did
it.
instant speed suspend Aeon Chroniclers.
You guys keep
100%.
Ricky Hayashi at the SCG HQ. Well, he works for Star City Games.
Yeah, he's literally like one of our guys.
Yeah.
You know, he's been here off and on. He has been here for as long as my wife Callie, and we've been here since 2011.
Ryuden Tamarashi. Hi, Ross. Hi, Ryuden. How's it going? I don't know why I waved. You can't see me.
We're gonna edit this part out, right?
Oh, no, this is staying. This is
live
great.
TV. Okay. I would like to get Ricky in here.
Oh, in suspends text it says you may suspend from
Is he
hand.
coming or did it?
at lunch.
Come
I
on!
did talk to a couple other
Somebody
judges.
said it
I can bring
suspend
one in,
specifically
they
says
said.
from hand.
It says from hand.
Yeah,
that is what
rather
the
than
two
pass
judges
this
said.
card from your hand. You may. That's why it works.
Well,
with
my deck
Teferi.
doesn't work, and I quit. We're gonna just
What?
move on to a different matchup.
Come on, just play.
My deck doesn't work. I
course
can't
it does.
suspend Riftbolt from Skewer from. There's no way I'm playing 5 games of this garbage.
Well, you're playing at least 3.
This is
Play the-
garbage.
Just play the deck.
It is garbage. My deck doesn't work anymore.
It's 2 cards.
You're gonna play Thing in the Ice against a different deck, okay? Can you handle that?
All right, Ross 5-0s. That's one.
Look, all right. How about this? I'm just gonna put Eidolon into my main deck, and I'm gonna cut Riftbolt. Is that okay? Since it doesn't work with Light at the Stage. Is that okay with you?
Meh.
It's not okay with you. Okay.
It's not great.
For you in general, or just, for viewer purposes? Look, I just learned something.
So many Arclight Phoenixes, so few Faithful Suitings.
Okay, well, Ross stopped responding to my words, so I'm just going to do it. He's literally just goldfishing all of his deck over there.
I can't stop you.
You're right, you can't stop me. My deck doesn't work, and you expect me to just, continue from that spot?
People have been playing those cards together. They've been doing just fine.
And I bet half of them in real life have been cheating. Breaking the rules.
Ben says from hand.
Yeah, all you got to do is RTFC, I'll be on the play. You can chalk that one to Ross. Ross won game 1 because my deck doesn't function.
Oh, we're sideboarding?
No. I'm literally fixing my main deck. We're playing 2 pre-board. Get that look off your face. Get it off your face.
I can't imagine completely dismissing the deck because of one interaction.
Are you serious? It's like the moment someone main decks a Tocatli Honor Guard and then draws Venerated Luxodon. It's like, what are you doing?
It's perfectly fine.
What are you doing? You're fired. Your deck doesn't work.
You
Get out.
don't board out Venerated Luxodon when you bring an honor card against Golgari.
Maybe you should.
No, you just don't. Loxodon's too good. Elephant Jesus.
I'm gonna mulligan my 4-lander.
You can cast all your spells so quickly.
I'm so mad right now. Dude, I'm so mad. I'm mulligan the 7.
This is unreal.
This is already derailed.
Yeah, no, today's shot.
It's over.
Done.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
We should just turn off the stream. Look, I'm fighting through it. I'm a consummate professional, and when someone puts 2 cards in their deck that don't work together, I change the deck. Okay? That's just what I do.
Well, my hand is significantly worse.
Okay, my hand's great. 18. Bump. You're at 17. What's up?
This is just Todd's way of stealing the play from me.
You won a game! For the bragging rights, for the marbles, you won that game, okay?
I'll lead on a Terramander.
Shouldn't have done that, idiot. Aaron plays it.
14.
Go.
Let's get lucky. That's interesting. Fetch to 13. And I'm not going to be able to generate enough pressure, I don't think, in this game. 13 against a 4-card hand.
Man, if P hopefully wouldn't get mad at me, I swear I would just tear these rip bolts up. Honestly. I'm still looking at them, and I'm just embarrassed right now.
So I can take the line that requires me to get lucky, but I might need to get lucky to win this game anyway. Or I can just do the normal thing with this. And I probably just have to chart this turn.
Okay. What was the other way? Just turn to...
man.
Ice?
The other way was to opt and hope
yourself?
to hit Faithful Suiting because I have 2 Phoenixes in my hand. I would have hit.
Nice.
You can go.
Oh, because you have gut shot to bring it back.
I would have had you at 11, would have had a shot at winning this game.
All right. I'm going to bolt you.
10.
I'm going to light them stage. All right. Your turn.
Okay.
Shard Volley also not very good with light up the stage because I don't really want to sacrifice a land at any point in the near
Let's
future.
opt. Now we really just want to find a 3rd Phoenix here. And then we're a little bit too late in the game for this thing in the ice to be good, I think.
I agree.
So let's bottom that. And draw. And Faithful Saluting.
Sure.
Discard Arclight Phoenix Polluted Delta.
Okay.
And then play Spire Bluff Serum Visions.
Okay.
These lands don't do anything. Yep, attack you for 6 with these Phoenixes and pass the turn.
All right. Draw for turn. Land?
Do we want a Shard Volley now?
Particularly. All right, I'm gonna bolt you and skewer the critics. Put you to 4.
Yep.
This goes exile. Your turn.
Okay, we got some hits here to win the game.
Yikes. So you have a bolt in hand already.
Yep.
So dig for another bolt, and I'm dead.
Sure.
Yep.
Mm.
You have a land for a redraw.
How is a land to redraw?
If you have an opt or something, I don't know what's in your hand. Just guessing.
I don't have another 1-mana cantrip. I do have a land, but it'll put me to 3, which I don't like. I have to assume I'm dead next turn, right? There's.
You're not quite dead.
You're
You're dead to a land, or you're dead to a 1-mana burn spell.
Yeah. So I can. So now, so I have Manamorphose in my hand, so I can fetch and then give myself 1 draw to a lightning bolt or mutagenic growth.
I think the fact that I cast a shard volley means that you should not deal yourself with damage. The fact that I didn't cast shard volley means I need my other land, and my hand's probably full of like some gummed up stuff. I mean, I can draw. Let's see. At this point, any land or 1-mana burn spell is going to kill you because I have a Skewer the Critics. Not to be spoilery or whatever, but you're alive if I draw Searing Blaze or Eidolon the Great Revel or another Skewer the Critics, which I've gone through. I have 1 in hand, 1 in play, but you don't know about that. You're not dead to light up the stage. I don't know.
Yeah. Attack.
Sure.
Go to 6. Pass the turn.
You have a Bolt in hand and a Manamorphose?
Yeah.
So in response to me killing you, just Manamorphose and try to hit the other bolt.
Well, I'd have to respond to the first burn spell, which is awkward.
Hmm.
You don't have to show me that I'm dead.
All right. Well, I have to do this because I don't have a fetch, so 3/3.
All right, fetch in response.
Okay. I really hope you hit it.
You wanna tap me?
Sure. You're just gonna appeal the Manamorphose if I tap you, though.
That's a redraw.
Is it? What?
I'll have the mana.
Oh, not the Manamorphose. I meant the mutagenic growth. That's my fault.
Oh, sure. So
Red.
we Manamorphose, make red.
Okay. It was a one mana red burn spell, but not quite.
If you had drawn a fetch land, I could have. When I'm at 5.
Red bolt, gutshot, pay 2 for gutshot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have to still do that in response to the first one. I don't know.
That's funny.
So it's a weird game.
It was a weird game.
You dealt yourself 2 that game,
Yes.
and I ended up 1 short. It's another. These Rakdos burn decks don't deal themselves quite as much damage.
You want to do pre-board, post-board?
Well, I don't know. Was that game 2? I don't even. I'm not
It's
even.
1-1.
1-1 right now.
It's 1-1.
I have only surgicals coming in, and I don't even know if that's worth it.
Yeah, I would not bring those in.
But the Phoenix is like your best clock against me. All right, you can sideboard if you want. We are going to take a short break here, 3 minutes, so we can get our sideboards put together and ready to go for you, and we got to pay the bills. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.
And we're back here with sideboarding for Izzet Phoenix versus Rakdos Burn. On my side of the matchup, we've got the 3 counter spells that are pretty obvious. Last weekend in the Classic in Indianapolis, I actually had a second Dispel over the second Spell Pierce as a concession to Burn, but the reality is with the additions of Light at the Stage and Skewer the Critics and the move towards Rakdos for Bump in the Night, the deck actually doesn't have nearly as many instances as it used to.
Yeah, not really relying on Boros Charm to get the job done. Spell Pierce just looking better and better.
Yes, so I'm back to the 2 Spell Pierce, 1 Dispel here. I'm bringing in 2 copies of Abrade, which I typically don't do, but this version of the deck has 1 fewer removal spell in the main, and I definitely want to be able to handle Eidolon in the post-sideboard games. Against Boros versions, I usually bring in 1 Blood Moon, which seems weird against a base red deck, but cutting them off of their multicolored cards, their Boros Charms or Lightning Helixes, is really, really strong.
Yeah, but in this one is literally just bumping.
Yeah, just Bump in the Night, a card that they can cast early very easily. So Blood Moon not going to be worth it against this version, but against a Boros version, I do like bringing in one Blood Moon. You're often trying to fade the top of their deck for one turn, and so cards that just shut them off of 4, 5, 6 outs off the top are actually pretty good, even if they don't do much outside of that. So we're cutting Gutshot, a card that just costs life, isn't great. I know
really kill anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much. I know Ely says that he doesn't like going down. That's Ely Cassis beneath 2 of the free Phyrexian mana spells because of the he wants to maintain that ability to be explosive with Thing in the Ice. I'm not of that ilk. I'm keeping in the 1 Mutagenic Growth because it allows you to more aggressively block with Thing in the Ice and then save it from a Lightning Bolt or Searing Blaze, something like that, when you block a Swift Spear or Goblin Guide. And again, you do want some of that kind of effect. And then I'm cutting Chart of Course because I'm bringing in a Braid and I want to keep my curve pretty low in a very aggressive matchup. And then turning 1 Terramander because I don't want to flood too much on threats. There will be
the worst threat in the matchup too.
Yeah.
It's just the smallest.
There will be some occasional interaction with my threats, but Burn isn't really a matchup where they're interacting a ton with me. And in those matchups, you can go down a threat or 2 because the ones that you do play are going to stick most of the time.
Yeah. My side, Grim Lavamancer is more for grinding out decks that have a bunch of cheap creatures. It's really good against things like Affinity, humans, etc. Not really for this matchup. It can kind of slow down Arclight Phoenix, but that's not really the plan you want to be doing. We are going to try to take them out of the equation altogether with some number of surgical extractions. And we're cutting one of our worst burn spells, a Shard Volley, in order to facilitate that. You don't want to sideboard too much in your burn deck just because you need to have a high number of burn spells. I see people a lot of times board a bunch of Blood Moons and all sorts of stuff, and it just doesn't really do anything for your overall game plan.
Yeah, I've won so many games against Burn, post-board games where I had 2 life
and they needed a bolt or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
they drew 2 spells that didn't deal me any damage and 4 lands and left me at 2. And
yeah,
it was
a couple questions.
Yeah, Dean Jean wants to know, is Delver a thought for the Izzet deck?
Delver is a card that has never been impressive in Modern because of the large array of good, cheap removal spells to answer it, and the lack of cheap permission spells to back it up that you have in Legacy, namely Force of Will and Daze. So people have tried decks like that because you do have the high density of cantrips in order to transform it consistently, but the card itself just doesn't work without those elements. And with the decks playing a lot of removal that you don't as often see in Legacy. So you really need your cheap threats to be a little bit more robust or just more aggressive. And Terramander checks the first of those boxes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more appropriate. And I'm not cutting any of the other threats to add Delver to my deck. So
got one from Hysteus.
Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
And he's asking, now that KCI is out of the format, what artifact deck is poised to break out the next big tournament, since people are likely to be playing less artifact hate?
I would go with Whir Prison. Deck seems quite strong. I think people are picking it up. It did well in the Classic last weekend. So that would be my selection.
Yeah. I think to say that there's going to be no artifact hate is actually a bit off. I think there will be less. I think that you have to stay on your toes whenever a deck gets banned. Whenever Gargar Grave Troll got banned, people kind of cut back on graveyard removal, and so other graveyard-based synergistic decks ended up cropping up. Like you saw Hollow One get big and things like that. And so you just have to be careful. I think that everyone should be playing at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 disenchant type of cards in their sideboard. All right, you're on the play, bro.
My hand is very reactive, and it's tempting to keep this one, but it might be a mulligan just because I just don't have the pressure. But I do have a cantrip to dig towards a threat, and I have a lot of good interaction. I'm going to try it, but I'm not enthused by this hand.
Okay.
So we'll lead on the tapped Steam Vents just to save ourselves some life.
All right, edge you for 1.
19. Go to 18. Let's get a basic island. And Play a Serum Visions.
Okie dokie.
So hope to find a thing in the ice, otherwise known as a resident of Chicago.
Jeez. It is very cold up there. The polar vortex.
It's leaking down.
Yeah, it's getting cold up here too.
That's not too bad here in Roanoke. But
I mean, last night it was like 15 degrees. I know that's not negative 30 or whatever, but it's still cold.
I guess I do have a path here actually for this card. So let's top that one and bottom the other, and then gonna lightning bolt that spear right now before Todd can untap.
All right, we're gonna go to 19 and play an Eidolon of the Great Rebel.
Yep.
Your turn.
Okay, we're gonna have to take a risky line here. Gonna upkeep, bolt this Eidolon, take 2 to 16.
Okay.
And we need to. Oh, I don't have a cantrip. Oh, that
You
is.
have to Thought Scour into a land and a cantrip.
Yeah, I need to get really lucky here. Thought Scour myself, get this Phoenix in the yard.
And this is again upkeep. He hit both. Oh no! This could be really bad, except I have Surgical Extraction.
How's the land? Draw for turn.
Yep.
And that is another land. So unfortunately, we cannot cast this card aggressively, and we're getting a little punished for having it.
What, mutagenic?
And then I'll pass the turn.
Just tell me it's mutagenic. All right. We'll go land, Eidolon, your turn.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to take a bunch here to try to put some pressure on Todd. So I will go to 14, hold priority, mutagenic growth that.
Mhm.
Trigger brings me to 12. Abrade it with the mutagenic growth on the stack, go to
Yep.
10.
I had you at 16. Did I miss something?
Yeah, 16. Pay 2 life for
Oh, you
this.
have to pay
and
the
2
2 life
triggers,
for it.
yeah.
I'm sorry. So you're at 10.
So I'm at 10. This dies.
Yep.
Bolt you.
I'm at
You go to 16.
16 and
Bring
then
back
I'm
the
gonna go to 10.
Phoenixes.
10 all.
Pass.
All right. Let's see what you can do. Light up the stage. All right. So fetch down to 9. Searing Blaze, Phoenix, and you. See if this gets hit with a Dispel.
It does not. I am at 7.
Okay. That's good news. Yeah, cut.
You're good.
Okay. Light up.
That's going to get spell pierced.
And light them up.
Tilt.
Your turn.
Attack.
All right. I go to 6.
6. Pass.
So 6 to 7.
Yep.
Okay. Play both these.
Yep.
Shard Ball you. Go to
Yep.
4.
Braid one of them.
Okay. Hit you 2.
I'm at 2.
Your turn.
Lightning Bolt or Arclight Phoenix Place. Okay, please draw a brick.
All right. At 3.
I need you to draw a land here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Oh
easy.
no, Eidolon, I die.
Yeah, land or Eidolon.
Land Eidolon.
Anything else?
Bomb. Nice.
See, these games are all real close, and
Yeah.
if I didn't have to, if I just had a cantrip there instead of the mutagenic growth, like that cost me 4 life, because I just get to bolt the Eidolon, the second Eidolon, or braid it, and I save 4, and then you only have 5 there. I would have won that game. So the mutagenic growth proving incredibly awkward in that game.
All right. Well, it's only 142. We got time for at least one more game.
Yeah, I'm getting crushed in these. My record against Burn and Sanctioned Magic here in this matchup is quite good, but I've faded that draw a lot. the pass the turn, draw a land. It's come up land quite often. So
Well, much better to have it happen here than in a tournament.
yes,
So.
exactly.
All right. You're up.
Though, let's be honest, winning here feels pretty good.
That's fine. Look, you can take them where you want. All right, and if you want to take them here instead of in a tournament, actually,
sorry, Tannen.
I traded the marbles for your trophy.
Don't worry, they're magic marbles.
All right, you're on the play. I'm mulliganing.
Mulliganing. Let's see what I got here.
4 land, 2 bump in the night, and a goblin guide. Just don't feel like that's doing much.
No
lander, huh? All right, I'm going to 6 again.
Sand seems fine. I've got a thread. I've got a piece of interaction for a creature. I've got some ways to dig towards more stuff, and my mana base doesn't deal me a lot of damage, so that's about as much as you can ask for. This is a matchup where I think the switch from Crackling Drake to Terramander hurts. Like, Terramander is pretty vulnerable early on to Searing Blaze. Crackling Drake is something like you can spend the first 3 turns killing their creatures, maybe spell piercing a spell, and then slam a Drake on 4 and really turn the corner.
Yep.
But I'm going to lead on this Terramander.
Lucky for you, I ain't got nothing for it.
I'll take that Steam Vents. I'll go to 18. Let's play a Matt and attack for 1.
19.
You can go. Trigger guide. Abrade the guide.
Sure. Let's go to 19.
Go to 18.
Oh, 18. I'll bolt this.
And then I take 2, go to 16.
Yeah. I'm bolting that because killing his threat buys me more time to draw a burn spell later on. Pumps the Swiss Beer. Puts you to 16.
Yep.
I'm at 18. Okay. I could fetch a black, but my life total comes into play pretty often in this matchup.
I'm going to fetch to 15.
We don't have a bump yet.
Got another island. You have 3 in here or 4?
3. Because of Zimmel.
So, our Terramander dealt a point of damage and traded for a bolt, which is nice.
Yeah, I think that's about the best you can do out of this matchup for that card.
We're going to play a Seam Revisions and try to set up for next turn.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good draw. And we definitely want this one, but this land can go to the bottom. Hold on. I'm not letting you untap before I abrade that thing.
Okay. Well, that sucks for you because someone plays Eidolon. Go.
It's pretty good. Probably dead now, but
You're still at 15. If you take 6, go to 9, and put 3 Phoenixes on the battlefield, I'm probably dead. Maybe.
go to 13.
Yep.
Make red. Go to 11.
Yep.
Bottom that land. Red floating, go to 9. This can definitely enter tapped. And do I want... So I'm at 9 right now.
Yeah, you have a red floating still.
Do I want to lightning bolt this Eidolon?
At this point, I think you just bolt me. See, that puts me to 15, and you attack me down to 9, and then a bolt off the top kills me, and my attack puts you to 5, so you're dead to 3 damage spells. I think at this point, at 9 life, bolting the Eidolon doesn't change your clock. I guess it does change the clock if I get to attack with the Eidolon. So
yeah, that's the problem, is the attack with the Eidolon. This is a tough scenario, actually. And getting a little punished. If I just hold up the Abrade and wait for you to like play a spell and respond to the trigger, or just take 1, I probably win this game. That was probably too aggressive of me. So if and you didn't play a third land, so I know you have a bunch of spells.
No, but if I do play a third land and you don't, if you don't main phase the Abrade, right? I just want to go over the stack that happens if you don't hit the Abrade. If I play a third land, I go Lava Spike you. You have to Abrade then, or else like I just can play another burn spell and then you Abrade, and then I play another burn spell and you just take way too. You take 4 from this that you would have normally taken.
You just don't have many instants in your deck though. Like it's especially 1-man instants. You only have lightning bolt. So I'm actually I shouldn't be afraid of this thing like growing out. That was just a mistake. I am going to bolt that Eidolon and go to 7.
Okay.
because I just want to dig towards, like, he's low on land, so if I dig and find counter spells, I can buy a lot of time that way.
You're at 7, I'm at 12.
Yep, you can go.
Land. All right, let's go. Swiss Spear, Lava Spike. You hit you for put you to 2. Your turn.
Another creature was really good.
Just find both Phoenixes.
Opt.
Yep.
That's a keeper.
Flashback looting, pitch 2 Phoenixes, land, opt, kill me.
So I have 2 bolts and two Phoenixes left in my deck, and I can flashback looting and try to hit a Phoenix, or I can cast opt and try to hit a bolt. I think opt leads to better other things. Like I could find a counter spell and go like kill this, attack, and hope you can't double spell. Hope you don't have two more 1-mana spells.
Yeah, I think opt is probably better.
So I think opt is better.
Yeah, if you just hit the bolt, you win. You got.
I think should I fetch first? I don't think there's a difference here.
Well, you have to hold back for no.
I mean, I'm gonna have a bolt for that anyway.
Sure.
And if you have Swift Spear plus a spell, I need to counter. I guess if you have
Searing Blaze, no land.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just opt again.
Plus, it's just on top. It's fine. Rebuy.
It's a rebuy that can also let me hit the Phoenix in 2 draws.
Now
so
you
I think I
fetch.
keep that.
Yeah. Now you fetch. Because you don't need both Phoenix. You just need 1 Phoenix.
Yeah. Now I just need 1. Ah! Why would you tell me to fetch?
Because you need to cast the blue mana off the Thought Scour. And
I have the red for
in case you draw
in case
red
I draw
for
a second
another bolt.
Yeah. So now, you have to fetch there.
You have to fetch.
Go to 1.
It was there though.
It is right to fetch though, because you need to leave yourself the out to bolt.
Because you can't with a Flooded Strand specifically. You can't fetch.
If it's a Tarn, you can hold up and just like if you have in the situation where you mill the mountain and hit the bolt, like whatever.
All right, I'm gonna cut you to it for the memes.
Okay. All these games have come down to just like hitting it. Can you draw the burn spell on the last turn? Can I find the bolt on the last turn?
You should have milled me.
Now I have to bolt this and attack.
You're dead.
Yeah, it's very dead.
You should have milled me. The wrong kid died.
So your powers are too strong. It always comes to the top.
Oh, you're right. Oh no.
I should have played around that. But super tight games every time. I've just come out on the wrong end a lot.
Yeah.
I think most of the time you'll see me take one of those games and then just be behind 3-2 in the set instead of being behind 4-1.
Yeah. We are going to be done with this match. 3-1 for the red deck. I gave Ross his 1 win. You know, my Rift Bolt didn't work. It's fine. Whatever. Not going to sweat it. One thing I do want to point out. This matchup with Eidolon is probably a lot better than without.
Okay.
The 3 games that I did win, I did have Eidolon, and one game specifically, it crushed him. It dealt him
So screwed up
6 or 8 damage or something. And another game, 2 games that did that, I think. 2 games that dealt you a ton.
I screwed up that last game too. If I just hold up the Abrade, I win that game pretty easily, I think.
Sure.
Maybe not though, because you had 2 burn spells.
It would have been a lot closer, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you took a bunch of damage off the Eidolon that you might not have had, you know?
I mean, I took 2 extra damage off of it, and I took 4 extra damage off the Eidolon that I would have saved, but I would have taken.
It's fine.
I might have just taken that off that Swift Spear though.
That's fair. No,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
So it's actually probably about the same. I just need to hit the bolt.
Yeah, it's for what I was worth though. Very close matchup. It can go either way. If I ever just like brick or flood out a little bit, you know, I don't think you can keep a 4-lander.
Yeah.
I mulliganed 4-lander multiple times.
Also, you played very conservatively with your life total. You fetched, didn't fetch shocks if you didn't have the bump in the night already in hand.
Yeah.
And I think that helped you out a lot of time. Like I was 1 short in one of the games with the 2 gut shots in my hand. And so. That was also some tight play on your part because you're recognizing how important your life total is. It's worth cutting yourself off of a couple outs.
Yeah. Was the double skewer on your thing in the ice? Did we do that before we started, or was that one of our first games?
I don't know. We played a few games before we went live, but I'm not sure. A lot of close games here. I think that these games are very indicative of how the matchup goes. I didn't come out on the right end of any of the draws on the last turns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. So you're welcome, Tannen. I've saved all of my luck for this weekend. So when it comes down to it, when we're playing for top
There's
8,
still 2 more matches, sir. You can get super.
I'm talking
lucky.
about this matchup
That's
specifically.
fair. Okay.
I mean, I'm not playing Eldrazi Tron this weekend, so if I get lucky with that deck, it doesn't count. That doesn't carry over.
All right. Well, we are going to take a break here while we prepare for the second match, where we're going to have basically 2 older decks that may have gotten a little bit better with the Ironworks banning. Hardened Scales from my side, I think maybe a lack of artifact hate could potentially boost this deck back into the spotlight, as well as Ironworks just being one of its bad matchups. So those 2 things maybe makes it a contender, and you are playing Eldrazi Tron.
Yes, Eldrazi Tron. I think Chalice of the Void is a really well-positioned card in Modern right now, even with the Ironworks ban. Ironworks is pretty good at playing through Chalice with Engineered Explosives and cantripping with their 2-mana stuff and just dig for the answer that way. But Izzet Phoenix and Burn, especially the way the burn lists are now, I think are both vulnerable to Chalice of the Void. So granted, we did talk about how you have 3-mana actual spells with CMC3 that cost 1, but they're adding things like Bump in the Night and Shard Volley to their deck, so they are adding more ones as well.
Yeah.
So they're still definitely vulnerable to Chalice. It's one of the better cards in the format against them. If they're cutting hate for KCI, maybe they don't have as many Smash to Smithereens, things like that to answer Chalice. So a card I definitely think is well positioned for the weekend, and Eldrazi Tron is one of the best decks for utilizing that card. So
all right. Well, we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.